Rolling Dice and Taking Names is sponsored by The Broken Token, creator of high-quality gaming accessories and storage solutions. Visit them online at thebrokentoken.com.
Hey y'all, it's time for R is for rolling, D is for dice, T is for taking, and N is for names. And on this episode, the guys interview I is for Ignacy, who will be talking with the guys about Portal Games releasing at Essen. The guys will also be reviewing M is for Monolith, A is for Arena, which will be debuting at Essen. Now, if only I could think of something that starts with C.
Welcome to Rolling Dice and Taking Names. This is episode number 156. C is for Cookie by that all-time great artist, the Cookie Monster. I'm Tony.
Oh, gosh. Oh, that is one of the best things ever.
There you go.
That was brilliant. I love it when I don't know what you're going to title it and I just get totally surprised. This is Marty, by the way.
Yeah. I mean, one of those things where our special guest, it fits so readily with what he talks about.
And you know what? If you have no clue who's going to be the guest on this show, but you know anything about designers and board games, you know exactly who this show is going to be with.
That's right. Our good buddy Ignacy has come on the show. It's been a while. He hasn't been here in a while.
It has been a while. And Ignacy is one of our best friends of the show. Obviously, he is a sponsor of the show, so you hear about his great games every time. But it's not just because he's a sponsor, Tony. Ignacy was a friend first, sponsor later. We just wanted to work together close with him just because we had such a great relationship with this guy. And we love getting him online to talk with him about just anything and everything, but especially all the fantastic games he's going to be coming out with at Essen in a few weeks.
And we had to get him on soon because, you're right, Essen and Monolith Arena. I mean, he has had great success with Detective, which we will find out through the interview just how much I've played. But I do want to mention, Marty, since then, I did order Detective.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
I cannot wait to see what you think about it. I hope it goes over well with your group and your family, and they really dig into it. Just make sure to give them a heads up. This is something you got to invest in. You've got to pay attention.
Yes, you do.
You can't just be kind of halfway plugged in, and you take good notes. I hope you have a good note taker. Is Donna a good note taker?
Oh yeah, she's very thorough on that, and also Rebecca, she'll do it. So I'm planning on playing with them, and hopefully they will be invested in that. Now, I'm not going to tell them how long it's going to take to play because that's when they'll check out.
Yeah. Well, here's the great thing is you don't realize how long you've played until it's over, because you just start playing and you're talking and discussing, and all of a sudden time goes by. And when you're done, you look up and go, wow, it's been 2 to 3 hours, and it doesn't feel like it at all.
Yeah. And I've shared out with you that, I ordered it from a company and I got this notification, and you were laughing at it because it said they sent it out, and I'm not going to mention who they used. And I get the notification. And I go, can you believe this? It left their store and it was in Charlotte in one day. So within one day, it was in Charlotte. And I was like, sweet, I'm going to have it in no time. And then I get the notification that says it will be delivered 6 days later. I'm like, what? It's in Charlotte.
What? Hold on. For people who may not know, Tony, you live in Charlotte, correct?
I do. I live in Charlotte. Yes.
And the game is in Charlotte.
Right.
Probably within maybe half an hour of driving distance to your house.
Matter of fact, I'm pretty sure it was. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
6 days, huh?
That's what it said on the notice. So I started laughing about this, and I let you know this, but it arrived 3 days early. Well, there you go.
Maybe it's so that when it comes early, you're excited. So they they're going to under promise but over deliver.
Exactly. And I'm fine with that. And I know that they had to use a third party to get it delivered and all this. But when I got the box, I opened it up, Marty, and I'm like, good gosh, how big is this game? I mean, I unloaded 600 of these things. You and I unloaded 600 at Gen Con for Ignacy. And the box has to be a foot by a foot by a foot. So 12 inches all the way around, right?
It's not 12 inches deep.
It was.
It's not 12 inches deep.
So I will.
It's like that. It's a standard box.
The box it came in was that size.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you meant the detective box.
No,
I'm sorry.
No,
I'm
detective's
sorry.
what,
Okay.
3 inches?
All right, now I get you. There must have been a lot of packing in there.
I got 9 inches of peanuts.
Gee, isn't that the worst when you open up a box and the peanuts are packed to the top, but the thing that you're getting is about 5 inches deep, so you're trying not to get peanuts out all over the floor. You can't do it.
No, you can't.
You can't pull the container out without peanuts going everywhere. So then you try to find another container to scoop out a handful of peanuts to put that into so that you can get the product out.
Yeah. And normally I recycle the peanuts. I take them to a postal place and say, here, take these peanuts, please. So I'm going to do that again. But yeah, I was just like, wow, how big is this? And then all of a sudden the box was there. But either way, I'm excited to play it. I've already watch it played and see how to play it. I'm going to have to watch it played again so I have a good understanding of it, because I want it to be a good experience for them. I don't want them to get bogged down in rules, and the rules are pretty straightforward.
That's the beauty of this game, Tony. There's no rules to get bogged down into. Basically, if you know the rules, they really don't need to. Because once you kind of get 10 or 15 minutes into it, then they'll know all that they need to know is basically when you decide what path you want to go to investigate, it costs a certain amount of time and you have a limited amount of time before the game ends. That's pretty much it. I think maybe the thing is make sure to spend a little bit of time with the Antares database and make sure you understand how it works.
Yeah, I'll do that. And I'm really excited to get Ignacy on. So he's waiting over there. He's finished up his cookie. Let's bring Ignacy onto the show. We would say we hate to interrupt our regular scheduled review session by bringing on another designer, but this man, he needs no introduction here at Rolling Dice and Taking Names. He's one of our best buddies, good friend, one of the few that can really make fun of us and get away with us.
Everybody can do that and get away with it.
Everybody can get away with it, yeah. Ignacy, welcome back to the show. It's been a while. How have you been?
Thank you for having me again. I'm awesome. I'm very good. I released a new game. I'm preparing for releasing a new game. So great times for me.
First off, where is it? I need my hello.
What?
You always start your show, Board Games Insider, with hello. Where's my hello? If I don't get a hello, this is not an official podcast with Ignacy.
Hello, Ignacy, check Portal Games.
Thank you very much.
There you go.
All right.
There you go. And I found out, so when we were trying to schedule this interview and trying to find the right time, Ignacy said there could be a conflict with something he wanted to watch, something I didn't know about. There's a volleyball world tournament going on right now. Is that
World
correct, Ignacy?
Championship. We are in the semi-finals. Poland against America in a couple of hours. Well, everybody says that America will win, so we will see what will happen. I'm rooting for Poland. I guess we are rooting for America. We will see. We are in the medal zone, so either we will have a gold or silver or bronze, but we are very, very high. It is semi-finals. Big thing here in Poland.
Is this beach volleyball or is it 6-person?
It's real volleyball.
Beach volleyball is real volleyball.
It's your opinion. Yes, it's your opinion.
Well, I'm just curious because I watch both. Now, Ignacy, I know that you play football or American soccer. Did you ever play volleyball?
I played volleyball, but not super often, but a couple of times, of course. But volleyball is a great sport to watch. So I'm watching a national team every time they play. We won World Championship 4 years ago. We are now running world champion. We are defending the title, and because in Essen we are able to meet with the fans from all over the earth. So when we won the championship 4 years ago, I met at Essen fan from Brazil. We beat Brazil in the final. So when I was signing his box with the cow, obviously, I wrote, hello, Poland is a world championship in volleyball. And then this guy is a ultra Portal fan, so he was visiting our booth every year, and every year I was drawing him a cow, still world championship. And I guess I will meet him in a couple of weeks, and we will see what I will have to draw him.
So with that in mind, volleyball is one of those sports. My daughter played, and while you were eating your breakfast, your protein bar, Marty, we were talking about this. And one of the things I enjoy about volleyball is just the speed of the play. And to me, it's almost like watching hockey.
It's very entertaining to watch, yes.
Yeah, because of the speed, the fast, it's quick. I mean, it's not like American football where there's a timeout, go stand in a circle, talk a few plays, and then go run out and then go do something for 10 seconds, you know? So I enjoy watching football as well. But anyway.
Tony, I don't know if you know this, but I played competitive volleyball years ago. I played in leagues here in Charlotte.
Wow.
You did?
Oh, yeah. I played for like 3 or 4 years. I was really into it. There was a group of people who wanted to try it, and I never played organized volleyball, and I said I'd go try out for it and played down at the YMCA in downtown Charlotte was the main place that we
You
played.
go, big boy. Now, were you
It was fun.
Were you the libero? The little short person in the back?
No, actually, at that time I could jump okay, so I got to put the ball down on a few people here and there.
So definitely you need to watch the match today.
We need to find it, Marty. We need to see if it's being shown.
Hey, I'm sure this is exactly what people wanted to hear about, though, when they joined in for this interview with Ignacy. Forget about the games coming out at Essen. We're talking international volleyball tournaments.
Well, they may not want to hear about that, but what they are wanting to hear from all of our special guests or anybody that comes on the show, like Ignacy's doing, is what type of lawnmower do you have, Ignacy? We know you've got one. You've got to have one. You got a home over there in Poland.
I have the very old, crappy, probably not working device or machine, or whatever you call it. I'm using it once a year probably, and then I'm frustrated because it's just doing lots of the noises and not that much of the work, and I'm putting it aside and waiting for the next year. So basically, yeah, you guys have a very fancy stuff, as I heard in the podcast. I do not.
So wait a minute, is like your yard a jungle?
I wouldn't call it jungle, but well, it doesn't look like fancy gardens on the pictures. Yes.
So do you like, what, do the cats slink through the grass? I mean, I know I saw you a picture with a cat on your shoulder that kind of looked like a parrot, but does it like enjoy the jungle aspect of it?
I mean, our cats cannot go outside because we have a dog who literally and really eats cats. And it happened in our home a couple of years ago. It was Christmas Eve, and our dog just ate our cat, which was pretty funny for me, not funny for our daughter. And since then, we are not allowing our cats to go outside.
Okay, that's dark.
Yes.
I thought it was funny, but now we just can't have dogs anymore.
I mean, but I don't know where to go from here, Marty.
No, so basically, this is very interesting because from the cartoons, we know that dogs hate cats, but in a real life, we don't experience that. Well, I experienced that in my house. Our dog literally ate our cat on Christmas Eve.
So wait a minute.
I shouldn't be laughing.
But I mean, I can just see the family sitting there. Oh, look, that dog just ate that cat.
Oh, Whiskers! Where's Whiskers?
You can't imagine how many jokes I had in my head back then, and my daughter was crying and I had to shut up. And I was just new joke popping up in my head second after second.
But our audience needs to understand before they write in the hate mail here, Ignacy loves cats. There's a beautiful picture of Ignacy with a cat on his shoulder, and he's got this beaming smile. It was a life lesson.
Correct.
Kind of like when Marty's little dog discovered baby squirrels.
We have a neighbor who helps nurse lost baby squirrels back to health. You know, that the parents get eaten by hawks or something like that. So they drop off these baby squirrels over at my neighbor's house. Well, she also loves dogs, so she's always inviting our dog over there, whose name is Zeke. And these squirrels are in a cage. I mean, they're in a locked up cage. So she gets up one morning after sleeping and goes in there, and the cage has been ripped open somehow. And there's my dog sitting on the floor asleep with blood all over his face.
Every family has its story.
So she was not at all too happy. I don't even know how this dog who's only like 25 pounds, was able to pull a 3-foot cage off a shelf, somehow get the door open, and he's never shown any tendency of violence towards any other animal. And it messed up his teeth. Now his teeth are all wonky because I guess he used his teeth to try to rip open the door, and now his teeth are all messed up. So I hope it was worth it because he has a funny smile now.
All right, so now that I know that your dog hates squirrels, I mean, so the goat is not an option in the yard.
I don't want goat. Mary might be interested in this idea, so let's cut it off, edit this fragment. We don't want goat idea in the air because Mary may listen to that. No, we don't want any more animals. I have 2 cats, I have 3 dogs, I have probably some animals that are hidden from me. That's it.
You just have random animals lying around the house. It's like, oh, I didn't know we had
Exactly.
that.
Okay.
Oh, an iguana.
Oh,
Nice.
Nice. Well, we got those there. What are those things called? Skanks? What are
Skinks.
Yeah.
I had to run one of those out of the house last night, in fact.
3 dogs. What are the names of the dogs?
Rufy, Bella, and Gina. All kind of shapes and sizes. Like we have a huge dog who eats cats. We have a small dog who makes a lot of noises. Like we have all sorts of dogs.
All right, Marty, we got to get to.
Yeah, we got to get to some games. Let's talk about something that I know that you are probably still high on, and that is the huge success of Detective that was released at Gen Con. People have been playing it, sharing it, loving it. Last week I did a top 10 sales list of games for Miniature Market. It was number 4 on that list, so it's doing really well. You got to be feeling good about it.
We are having great time right now in the company. We just released in Poland this Wednesday, which is 3 days ago. We released Detective Polish edition, and we sold out the first day the whole print run, which created lots of problems because we have no time to reprint the game before the Christmas. Like everybody's surprised. Some of our employees didn't manage to grab their own copy because our sales team just sold out everything, which was quite ridiculous. It looks like we have a success. I would still wait a little bit longer, give this game a little bit more time. People are still playing the game. We are watching very carefully BGG forums, BGG opinions, ratings, etc. We see that many people are still playing, haven't rated the game yet. But the initial feedback, the initial symptoms, I would say, are very, very positive. So yes, a huge relief because it is always tough. You are working on a game for a year or 2 years. It is a huge process. And then you release the game to the public and you are just scared what will happen.
Yeah, I understand those people who haven't played it yet. I know what they're talking. I know what you're talking about there.
I got 2 more cases, Tony, that I can give the game to.
I'm tired of waiting.
Case 3.
I'm tired of waiting. I'm going to go out to our local game store. I'm going to pick up my own copy because my gosh, because I know Ignacy has plans for more cases, and I might as well get my own now because. I'm going to be able to get it back from you when he brings out expansions. All right, Ignacy, you're bringing out expansions, right?
There is announcement that we will do announcement in Essen, and everybody who has any deduction skill can figure out what we will announce. But yes, it's coming.
Okay, I had a successful game. Figure this one out, people.
Correct.
And I guess you are actually able to track how often this is being played by just the website statistics, right? You can go to the Antares database and see how many people's been logging in and how often they log in.
Yes, we were doing that, especially during the Gen Con and a few days after Gen Con, because we were trying to see if people are playing in the hotels during the Gen Con. And now we are going to grab more data every month to see if people are dropping after playing some of the cases, which is information for us, which case is not interesting for the players. So yes, we are able to see a lot of data just seeing how many people solved the case, what's the score, average score for the cases. So all this information will be very, very helpful if we do expansions, which we haven't announced yet, but everybody knows that it will happen.
And what's so great about that, I guess, is with the expansions, it's just a bunch of new cards. That's really all you need, right?
Yes, the base box offers for the players characters, pawns, board, and then the new case is just a deck of the cards. So it is super simple to produce them and deliver to the customers.
I wouldn't know. I hadn't seen the inside of the box yet.
It's so funny. I remember on this has been such a great experience for our family. When we did case 2.
Okay, I'm going to step out right now. I need to get something else to drink. Y'all to go ahead and talk. Okay.
No. I understand. I'm not giving anything away. I'm not giving you spoilers away. But when we were playing case 2, I remember we thought we were killing it. We had it actually got to the point. I think in case 2 it gives us like 6 days to complete it. On day 5. we put in some information, and the computer told us, oh, well, by the way, you've solved this case. You can stop right now if you want. We didn't. We said, let's go ahead and take the extra day and try to find out more information. So we get to the questionnaire, which is at the end of every case, to enter in answers to questions to see what your score is. We did horrible. I don't understand it. We came out of that going, we know everything we need to know. And then the questions came up, do you know this? We went, no. Do we know that? No. And then it's like our score wasn't that good at all. It was like, I can't believe, what did we miss? And then we go to the third case, and I'm not going to say anything because you know the third case is kind of different. And we got to the end of that, and we said, we did horrible. Horrible. We don't hardly know anything. We go to answer some of the questions, and we got some of them right. We did a better score on that one than we did in case 2. What are you doing to us?
Yeah, this is like we were changing these questions so many times. On one hand, we want these questions to be a little bit tricky, so it is not super obvious. But on the other hand, we don't want to make players give the wrong answers. But I saw this so many times that people are playing the game, playing the case. I see that they understand everything, they have everything figured out. Then they see the test and they are just like blanking out, like a student in the college, like I have no idea what I'm doing, and they're just clicking random questions. I don't know how the human brain works, but I was literally seeing so many groups that they figured out everything, then they see the test and they just panic and just have some doubts, and then doing some crazy answers and have a lower score than I was expecting after seeing them playing the game. So yeah, this test moment is very surprising for me.
All right, you can talk now, Tony. We're done. I'm done.
Are we moving on to something? Are we moving on to something else?
Tony, I'm just saying you really should play this game. I think you'd have a lot of fun.
I know
playing.
I would. As a matter of fact, like I said, if I go to the local game store today, if he has a copy, which is the reason why I haven't picked one up recently, is just because, well, it's hard to find. So what is the schedule for reprints? And then I also have a follow-up behind that.
At this point, the game is in stock, in distribution, so every game store should be able to order it from the distributors. And we have scheduled one more shipment of the games to America late November. So as for our estimations, the game should be available in America for the whole season till end of the year, and then the next year we will see what will happen. But at this point, I think we are fine. We have enough copies.
Okay. So, I mean, this is one of those, I'm guessing here, is a game, Marty, where if you open it right before the Christmas, let's say you've got relatives coming in, people who don't play the big board games like we do, but this is one of those games that I'm guessing that you can drop on the table with them. I mean, you told me it plays up to 4 players, and this is an excellent way to pass the times through the holidays with those guests.
Yeah, because there's some gaming elements to this, but it's so straightforward, Tony. You take care of that. The rest of it is honestly just, it's an Encyclopedia Brown game. You're reading stuff, trying to get clues, trying to figure out. They give you, each case is like, here's what you need to find out. Focus on that, and you try to work towards that goal. Take good notes. So it's the experience, the game part. You can just kind of run that yourself, which is really straightforward. And also, Tony, I just checked on Miniature Market. They have it in stock there.
Okay, well, there we go.
And I talked with Rob Daviau, who played the game with his friends, and he said that he had some people who were very hardcore involved in the gameplay, like 3 of them. And then he had a bunch of friends who were just, hanging around, asking what's going on, and playing, like half just, hanging around. So even if you have in a family somebody who is not super into it, he may just play half play and half doing whatever he wants. Like, you don't have to be super involved, and yet you will have some fun just asking players, how are we doing? What are we thinking? And he just can throw some ideas and then walk away. So this is a very casual game.
Yeah, I can understand that. Now, Marty, when we were at Gen Con, and by the way, Ignacy, thank you so much for the opportunity to help set up your booth.
That was fun.
That was very Tom Sawyer of you. Why don't you come try this? This is fun, guys.
Well, I'm sorry, but I had fun getting on our hands and knees and putting the mats down on the floor.
That was fun.
Opening boxes, stocking things. That was a blast, and we cannot wait to do it again next year.
I appreciate that.
I just hope there's not like 200 cases of whatever game you come out with next year, but that was still fun anyway. That was a lot of boxes.
Yeah, and I guess what was killing me, and we talked about this on the Gen Con show, is I'm sitting there with Ignacy, and he's smiling and everything. This is the fanboy in me, and these people are getting the game, and I'm like, people, this is Ignacy. get him to sign the game. But I wouldn't say anything because I didn't want to embarrass Ignacy. But next year, Ignacy, I'm doing that to you, man. This is Ignacy, people. What's wrong with you?
That's a very fun moment when people who don't know me from the vlogs or from the Twitter or from the Snapchat or whatever, they just find out that this crazy dude standing next to them is a designer of the game. It is always funny. I don't know if you heard at the Gen Con the story from Bruno Catala. He was walking from the hotel to Gen Con and he saw a group of people playing Seven Wonders Duel. So he approached to them and start conversation with them. And he said, "Hey, I'm a Bruno Catala. I'm designer of this game." And they didn't believe him. And he had to show them. He had to show them ID to prove that he is Bruno Catala, which is ridiculous.
Did you hear the story that Rob Davio shared? I believe you were at Grand Con, Ignacy, along with Rob Davio, and they said Rob Davio said that somebody got like in the elevator with him and found out Rob Davio was a designer, and they said, oh, they didn't know who he was, but they asked if he knew who Isaac Childress was. And they said they were geeking out because Rob knew Isaac Childress. And I thought, wow, that's a little bit of a humbling experience right there for Rob.
What was it? Martin Wallace was telling us he was talking to a guy who was it a doctor or somebody in Australia? I can't remember. I mean, it's not like we just recorded with the guy, but the guy he's talking to is a professional, and he finds out that one of his favorite games Martin designed, and Martin's sitting right there, and he never had any idea who the guy was, didn't put the two together based on his name.
But this is basically very, very fun one because, of course, designers, we are not celebrities like Bruce Willis or Shakira, whatever, but still we have these random moments in the middle of nowhere that somebody recognizes you. I had this terrifying moment at the airport in Poland because, as you guys know, I'm afraid of flying. So the moment I'm walking into the airport, I'm already terrified. And then I'm walking to this airport, and the woman in the uniform from the airport, like a security, approaches me, and she says, "I need to take a picture of you." And I was like, oh my God, I did something wrong. They will arrest me like what I did. And I say, what? She said, no, I need to take a picture of you. And I was terrified. Of course, soon after, it turns out that she's a fan of Robinson Crusoe and fan of me, and she wanted a selfie with me. But for this split second, I was terrified. The security approaches me, and we want a picture of you. So yes, this moment happens, and it is very funny.
Wait a minute. When you came up with... you said you're not celebrities like, and the first two names that came to your mind was Bruce Willis, and did you say Shaquille?
Shakira.
Oh, Shakira! I thought you said Shaquille, like a Shaquille O'Neal. I went, okay, that's a bizarre celebrity to come up with. All right, sorry.
Would be thankful they didn't come up to you, security, and say, "Excuse me, sir, we need to take you to the back room."
Correct.
Oh man, that's pretty good. But no, that's just amazing me. But next year, so get ready to start drawing some cows. But back to Detective, which you're going to probably announce something special at Essen on. Wow, I just forgot the question, Marty. You go.
Okay, I will. Moving on from Detective, you've got a couple of brand new... What?
No, there's some follow-up to Detective. I'm sure there's...
Well, then you can come back to it, because I want to hear... I've already been playing Detective, Tony. I've been experiencing the game. I'm ready to hear about the stuff I haven't been experiencing.
Do you have any show notes for this episode? Like anything?
No.
Not when you're on. The show notes are just out the window. We're just going to get on and have some fun.
Okay.
So for Essen, you've got two... games coming out, one a brand new game and one an expansion, and we'll let you share those in whatever order that you want to.
Let's talk about the Monolith Arena. I have it here with me. We just received a sample from manufacturer. Everything is perfect. We are very happy with the production value. And the Monolith Arena is our second big release of the year. So we released Detective, and the next game is Monolith Arena, 2 titles from Portal Games.
Don't tease me. Don't show something like that and it's not sitting at Marty's house. That's
If you haven't heard about Monolith Arena, this is a Neuroshima Hex mechanics in a different universe, more fantasy universe, but with a new mechanical twist to it to separate it from Neuroshima Hex. So can you tell us about this new mechanic?
Yeah, so basically Monolith Arena is, as you mentioned, standard strategy game. There are 4 different armies. Each army has 35 tiles. These tiles represent the units, soldiers, some magical runes that will support your soldiers, some orders, like classical strategy game. And you will be placing these unis and these runes on the board, and the classical strategy game. But the thing that Michael Orach came up with is this monoliths. These are the plastic pieces that form a small tower on the board, and inside this tower, before the game starts, in the setup phase, you are hiding some of your tokens, and your opponent has no clue what you have put in these towers. And then the game starts, you are putting your soldiers on the board, you are giving them orders, you are shooting, fighting, but at some point you are able to reveal this monolith, this tower, and you show what you have here. And there might be some super strong soldiers, there might be some magical runes, all the things that can surprise enemy and help you out in this particular situation. So basically, with this addition to the game, Michael made this game much more strategic. Like, you can prepare some combo up front before the game starts, and then during the game, besides the random draw of the units, random draw of the orders, you have something already pre-constructed that will surprise the enemy, and it adds a lot of value to the game.
So from the Hex world, we're still pulling from the bag to get our tiles. Is that correct?
Correct. So this gives a lot of replayability, because you have these 35 tiles. You never know order in which you will get these tiles, whatever you need, the archer or the swordsman or the rune, or you never know what will come up. You always draw 3 tiles, you discard one, you play the other 2. But before the game, you have something hidden, something special that you will reveal during the game.
So it's almost like as if you're almost like maybe thematically your base has a couple units within the base that nobody can see because they're behind the walls of the base, and anytime they can come out and help defend against the base or attack.
Correct.
So it's the fog of war concept. Like, what is he going to do? What's the surprise? Along with what's in his hands, how is he strategizing around that?
And it has this feeling of, I don't know how much you played Magic the Gathering. I know that you played a lot of CCGs. But it is like in a Magic the Gathering, you are sitting at home and thinking about creating the best deck possible to surprise enemies, right? To surprise the other player. Here you are literally sitting at home and thinking which tokens I could hide in this tower, in this monolith, to surprise my opponent. I don't know if you heard this story when I was trying to break the game and create a super awesome combo. I was playing dwarves, and I came up with this amazing combo. I hide 2 tokens in the tower. I thought it is very powerful, maybe overpowered. So I sent a text message to Michael Orach with the picture. I said, Michael, here's my combo. Is it legit? Because it's very, very powerful. And Michael just texted me back, and he was very mean to me because he said my combo sucks. And he immediately sent me 4 text messages with the 4 combos he playtested, and they were like 10 times better than my combo. And then he sent me the last text message, which was, Ignacy, I playtested it all. Don't worry, chill out. So basically, yes, you can come up with the amazing, crazy combos in this game, only with these few tokens, but preparing beforehand, it gives you a lot of edge against your opponent.
We can understand when a designer comes back to you and looks at you and says, you're stupid. We've had that happen to us.
Multiple times.
Yeah, and maybe one that's on the show right now when we were learning Imperial Settlers.
Maybe.
Yeah, that's what started off this great friendship. I guess the surprise will only be once. So you're playing, you'll see what your opponent has, and that'll be, based on, you only just surprise them just once. But once you deploy those units, they stack back up again after you use them, or do they stay out on the board?
They stack up back. So your aim is to, as soon as possible, try to kill these dudes that are in this tower, that are in the monolith. So when the monolith will stack back, it will be empty. But it is quite a task, quite a challenge to have everything prepared that you will be able to pull it off and kill these dudes before they will hide again. So it's quite a strategy challenge.
But when you deploy the tower, and I'm trying to remember from the rules that you taught me at the Dice Tower Con, that you have to have adjacent spaces to be able to deploy out to. So isn't just a good basic strategy as just try to defend, try to put units around an opponent's base so they can't deploy the monolith?
This is exactly one of the new strategies in the game, that not only you want to attack an enemy base, because it's a goal of the game to destroy the opponent's base, but basically to not give him space to open this monolith. And this is one of the new strategies, new tactics you have to keep in mind that you need this space. You need this space to reveal this monolith and show your combo. So sometimes you may have super strong units in the tower. You put them before the game, and they will never be able to act because you are just in the corner and you have no possibility to reveal it. So yes, this is an additional layer of strategy.
And so, Marty, for us, I mean, for this game, it is going to be one of the things that we love. We love the bag draw, always have. I mean, we talked about this with War Chest.
It's not really a bag, but just
no. When you draw the tiles, you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Well, then why?
I don't think there's a bag though.
You're being like my wife again. You're correcting me. You knew what you meant.
Okay.
All right. Then the deck building strategy.
Well, I mean, it's not. Well, I mean, it's like you set aside 3, but it's the same 35 tiles every time.
The strategy of the monolith. Were you not listening? These are the things we enjoy.
I'm totally listening. I'm just debunking what you're calling these things, but go ahead.
Fine, you can debunk them all you want, but it's what we enjoy in a game.
Yes, it is. Keep going.
No, I'm done. I'm out. That's it. No.
Are you going to call it an area control worker placement game too?
Is this these are your workers when you're putting them on the board to battle.
I knew it.
I can make anything a worker placement game. You know that. And I can do a flow chart for any game. So this is not a problem.
All right. So I do have one basic rules question though. When you deploy the monolith, do they all have to come out or can you just pull one out?
Everything.
So, but other than that, it's pretty much if you've played Neuroshima Hex, aside from the monolith, everything else plays the same.
Yes, and this is very interesting. At the conventions, for example, at the GrandCon, we were presenting the game without the monolith rules because we treat them as advanced variant. So we were just presenting the game as it is as Neuroshima Hex. And I cannot explain that. I don't know how it works. Probably we need somebody smarter than me to understand that. But only changing the theme of the game and only changing these post-apocalyptic monsters into the fantasy universe that is so much easier to understand and to grasp, that elves are fast, that dwarves have the shields, the demons can teleport. It adds some amazing value to the game. And now I have at home Monolith Arena and Neuroshima Hex, and I do play in Monolith Arena. Of course, I know it is new for me, so I'm more excited about this. But still, when I play the Human Empire, which has a knight, these knights can charge, which is super, super cool. I understand that. Like, I feel like, okay, I have a knight, they are horses, we are charging, we are killing somebody, and then Mary is playing, for example, demons, and these demons are teleporting all over the place and changing position, and somehow it is so much more vivid in my head, so much more interesting that I can imagine, because of course I'm a geek, of course I love fantasy novels, I love this stuff, so having dwarves and elves is making this game better for me, even though it is exactly the same rules as Neuroshima Hex. So I'm very optimistic about this game. It has this legit system that, Michael designed this in 2005. This is like 13 years ago. This is insane. It was released in Essen 2007. Then it was released by Z-Man Games 2008 in America. And the years were passing. More and more people were recognizing the game, knowing the game. It's still popular. It still sells like crazy. And now with this fantasy universe, I'm very optimistic because it's a great system.
Oh, yeah. I enjoy the game. Love the game. So what is the chances that, let's say Monolith Arena takes off, will you look at bringing some of the armies over, or will it always remain fantasy?
Yeah, so Michael has now a difficult task to support both lines, Neuroshima Hex and Monolith Arena. We will see in upcoming years how fast he can come up with the new expansions, new armies. If you want to transfer some armies from Neuroshima Hex into the Monolith Arena, what will happen? But basically, this is a system that Michael knows very well, as we can imagine, right? Mm-hmm. So for him, creating these new armies is quite easy task. Of course, there is always a challenging of balancing these armies. This is something that takes him the most time. Like creating a new army for him is a couple of weeks, and he has this idea for the army, and then there are these long weeks of playing over and over again. So we will have, as a publisher, support Michael and provide him playtesters to help him balance the armies. But I have a huge hope that fans of Neuroshima Hex will have a new content, and fans of Monolith Arena as well. But first of all, we need to release the game, then somebody has to like the game, then somebody has to ask me for the expansions, and then we will ask Michael to design it. So small steps.
Yeah, I guess we're putting the cart before the horse. You talked about the theme, and I think that may be one thing that maybe appeals to some people. While I like the post-apocalyptic themes, I like Mad Max and stuff. The factions and stuff in Hiroshima Hex, when I see them, I don't really know what they do until I look into them. But fantasy tropes are so common. A lot of people understand, the dwarves are usually tough and have good weapons. Elves are usually fast and have ranged weapons. Humans have a little bit of everything. So in people's minds, I think when they see these standard kind of fantasy factions, they kind of quickly know what those factions might do.
Exactly the case. And we saw it at the Grand Con. Like I was saying to people, okay, now you play yellow. Yellow is a dwarf. You have a shield. You are tough. You defend. And immediately the player knew the basic strategy of this army. And this is exactly what you are saying. It is easier to grasp at the very beginning.
Yeah, so I know that's going to be a big appeal for me. Now, I saw a very sad, upset Ignacy earlier this week posting out on Twitter saying that you need some more thumb ups in the Essen preview out on BGG for Monolith Arena, talking about how Detective and stuff, those were getting a lot of thumbs up, but Monolith Arena hadn't even broke the top 200 yet. So first, has it broken into the top 200 since you made that request? And why do you think that people aren't giving it the love we think it should have?
Yeah, so me being upset, terrified our fans, so we get a lot of thumbs up. And now we are in, I think, top 100 in a geek list. So me yelling at our fans helped a lot.
Me yelling at the fans, threatening the fans.
Yeah, this is a good strategy. And yes, with Monolith Arena, we officially we are starting promotion on Monday, so in 2 days. So as you already saw on the Twitter, we already have a landing page for the game, monolitharena.com, where you can learn about the game. But technically, we were pushing very strong detective. We are promoting detective, and this week on Wednesday, 3 days ago, there was official release of a detective in Poland and in Europe. And officially, I stopped pushing and promoting detective, and now we are changing gears and starting promoting Monolith Arena. So since now people will start learning about the game, and I hope they will start giving the game the thumbs up. Because we will post the rulebook, we will post the pictures, we will post the gameplay, etc., etc. So it slowly starts. The game will be released in Essen for Europe and 2 weeks after Essen in America. So we have a couple of weeks now to convince players that the Monolith Arena is a great strategy game for them.
And that's at portalgames.pl/en. Okay, Mario, we've done that obligation. We're done.
Is this our one commercial? Is this our 45-minute commercial for this?
No, that was it right there where he was talking about the website and all. That's what we do. So there you go. We're done. We got that obligation. We'll get the other two in later. So that's excellent.
All right. So Detective just came out in Poland. Monolith Arena coming out of Essen. You're getting ready to do a big push for it. So make sure to follow the website. I'm sure follow Ignacy on Twitter.
When's it coming out in the U.S.? When's Monolith?
He said it was like 2 weeks after Essen. Were you not listening?
My English is that poor? Come on.
No, it's not that. I think I was trying to figure out how to work the commercial in. So anyway.
Okay. So anyway, it's two weeks after Essen. But you also have another expansion coming out for one of our favorite games, Imperial Settlers.
Oh, this is so good. What's it called, Ignacy?
I have a problem with the name. I cannot pronounce it. Is it Amazon? Amazons? I don't know.
Amazons. Amazons?
I don't know how to pronounce it in English. This is very confusing. Bonacor is correcting me every single episode of our podcast.
Okay, but he only gets to correct you once on that because you have to correct. It'd be like Marty and I when we try to pronounce designer names. He can't do any of those.
So this is Amazons or whatever you call them.
Whatever you call them.
Hey, he's taking notes from me. Yeah, whatever.
It's a very neat expansion. Anyway, this is expansion that was fully inspired by Terraforming Mars. I was playing Terraforming Mars, and I love the game. And in Terraforming Mars, you have a lot of cards that you just play them. They increase production of one of these resources, and they are done. Like you never use them, right? So there's a lot of such cards, and I liked it a lot. So because it's a very simple mechanism, and I try to think if I can do something like that in Imperial Settlers, that you just play the card, it has the building bonus, and that's it. And you never play with this card again. And we start playtesting such a faction. And actually we managed to pull it off. And now most of the cards in the Amazon faction has just a building bonus. When you play the card, you get some resources or some victory points or whatever, and the card is done. It doesn't have any action or something like that. But we created a very small rule. When you build on top of such a location, this card that you built on top of is shuffled back to your deck. And therefore we achieved deck building in the Imperial Settlers, because now we are choosing which cards you want to have back in your deck. And with that is a great choices for the players, because they have like in front of them 10 or 15 Amazon factions built, and now they choose which one they want to put back into the deck. And what I was asking playtesters and what was my designing goal was that in the last round of the game, the 5th round, I wanted my playtesters to have in the deck about 6, 7, maybe 8 cards, and I wanted them to precisely know what cards they have in the deck, because they were just, for the four rounds of the game, they were just building this deck, adjusting this deck, so they have exactly knowledge what they have in the deck, and they're just recycling these cards. Build, rebuild, reshuffle, build, rebuild, reshuffle. And this is crazy combos going on. I love this faction a lot. It's very simple. There is no usage of new tokens, no usage of new rules. It's just a one simple rule. When you build on top of an Amazon faction card, this card gets shuffled back to your deck.
But I guess it's the same rule that, so this is the Amazon faction card, so it goes on the left side of the board, and you build another Amazon faction card on top of it, but you get to shuffle that one back into your deck.
Correct.
Okay. Because I was going to say, you do have some cards on the right side, the non-faction, that just have a building bonus, and that's it, but you use those to build your faction cards.
Correct.
Okay.
Imperial Settlers. I'm still waiting for my expansions to come out. I'm still waiting for Robinson Stronghold.
Well, hold on. We'll jump to that one in a second.
No, I mean, okay, fine. Amazon's is an amazing faction. I understand. Okay, add to Imperial Settlers.
Wow. Amazon's amazing faction. Sounds great. Hey, I saw that you have a playmat that you just released this week for Imperial Settlers.
Whoa.
Yeah, did you not see it, Tony?
No, I haven't gone to that's portalgames.pl/en.
That's right. Now has this playmat that they've talked about, where it's just basically a place to play your cards. It has the nice little Imperial Settlers graphics on it, a place in the middle for putting your faction boards and the cards on the left and right. It's really cool looking.
So that's the moment when me being a boss of the company is an awesome moment, because I told my production, I want my playing mat for Imperial Settlers. Make it happen. And I have my playing mat for Imperial Settlers. I'm very happy. And of course, we put it in our web store so everybody can have it. But it was precisely just me wanting to have a playing mat, and I'm very happy to have this power in the company to just have it. But the mat is amazing, and I think that all the fans will be very, very happy. It's cute. It has all these small drawings, all these small little humans going and having some adventures. You can literally look at this playing mat and see all these funny scenes my artwork department designed there. So it is very nice to play with. But basically, it was just me dreaming about something like that.
Well, why can we not dream about a neoprene hex mat?
We have a mat for a Monolith Arena for SN pre-orders. So there is a mat for Monolith Arena, and I can tell you it was not yet announced, but let's do it. We are just producing a mat for 51st State. I know that you guys like the game, so here you have. We have it in production right now, and it will be announced in a couple of weeks.
The Amazons sound amazing. I love that concept of being able to, towards the end of the game, kind of know what's going to be in your deck that's coming out. Is it typically those new cards that just have a one building bonus thing? Is it just giving you resources? Is that what most of them do? Is there some that do something else besides give resources?
There is a ton of crazy abilities like activate all building bonus, activate all red cards, building bonus, get victory points for everything like that. You are just putting a card, activate some crazy combo, and that's it. And then you will shuffle it back to your deck, and that's it. In the deck there is also lots of abilities that can say something like draw 3 cards from your deck, keep one, remove from the game the other one, and shuffle back the third one. So we are adjusting your deck over and over again. So at the end of the game, like the final moments of the game, you precisely know what you have in the deck, and these are the cards that you wanted to have in your deck. So you can then draw them and win the game. It's a amazing way to try to control every single card in the deck. It's a very fulfilling moment.
I actually love this that you said that there's no new tokens, no new rules. So it's not like introducing new things are going to be on the board and new mechanics where you have to kind of figure out the rule book.
It's super simple.
If you know how to play Imperial Settlers, it's just there's this one thing. Oh, by the way, when you build on this, it goes back in your deck.
Correct. Exactly. There's only one rule. Yeah.
Amazons sounds amazing.
See, I think somebody's already said that on this show, but anyway.
Except he says Amazons.
Amazon.
How do you say? How do you say it?
Amazings.
How do you say it, Ignacy?
Amazing.
Amazing sounds amazing. See, I guess it should be Amazons.
And from our standpoint, since we're not using new icons or anything, I'm sure he's enlarged the font a little bit on these cards, right?
We can't get everything.
I cannot promise that. I'm sorry.
I cannot promise that. Hey, you know what the good thing is, Tony? Monolith Arena has no writing on the tiles whatsoever. It's
Oh. Monolith Arena has significantly bigger tiles than Hiroshima Hex.
Your gamers are getting older, Ignacy. I'm sorry.
It was you who said that.
But wait until you play Detective and see the font on those cards.
I cannot wait.
Make sure you have Rebecca handy, your daughter, to read the cards for you.
I've got my painter's glasses, my 3x glasses, so I can get that handled. It's in the miniature market cart. Okay, we're good with that. All right, so amazing Amazons. We've got a Robinson expansion. We've got nothing for 51st State. Aww.
Wait a minute, you got a Robinson expansion? What's that?
Yeah, he's got a Robinson expansion. He's been teasing a Robinson expansion about the Lost City of Z.
Correct. Mystery Tales is in production right now. We finished the everything with that. It is sent to production, and it will be released early next year. Is our first release in the next year. It's a huge, big expansion. And for the 51st State, right this weekend, we are having a play testing of the new expansion. It's almost ready. We send out the PDF with the new cards to the play testers all over the world, and we are waiting for the reports. I received my sheet to play test this weekend. So yes, new expansion for 51st State also early next year.
Hey, you notice how he just likes to do that to us, Marty? He puts on the video all these, promos and production copies and says, "See what you boys are missing right here. See what he's doing to us."
He actually shared that earlier this week on social media. I think you sent out saying, "Hey, playtesters, you got something coming your way for 51st State."
Oh,
yep.
If I was on social media, and I'm so glad that you've taken over Instagram, I'd probably see these things.
That still hasn't happened. But,
Okay.
I need to share a picture of a snake skin I found yesterday on Instagram. That's what I need to share.
That's what you need to share.
Squirrel! It was a 2-foot snake skin right beside our driveway going into the house.
What kind?
I think it's a black snake. It was hard to tell. There were rings around it, but the rings were pretty far apart. So I'm hoping it was black and not a copperhead.
Copperhead's going to be big and fat, where the black snake's going to be long and thin.
I'll send you a picture of it. Maybe you can identify it.
Okay. Do you have snakes over in Poland?
Only if you buy them in a store to have them.
Wait, really? They're not in the wild?
On what? I don't think so. I hope not.
Oh, okay. Well,
I need to move to Poland.
Well, next time you're in Florida in Dice Tower, I'm sure if you walk around, you can find a rattler.
Yeah, when I was in Florida and I saw some alligators or whatever you call them, I wasn't feeling super awesome. So, yeah.
I wasn't feeling awesome. Yeah. Okay. So I'll just let you know that dog that ate the cat. Don't get that dog around that gator.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and it's so funny, Tony. Recently, last episode, we had on Martin Wallace, who's in Australia, who has like the 10 most dangerous animals in the world. And then we come in here with Ignacy, who's in Poland. It's like, yeah, we don't even have snakes.
Well, I mean, it's too cold there. Okay, so we've got Robinson, Lost City of Z, and we know that the Lost City of Z was about the search for the city, and it was in South America, right, Ignacy? All right.
Correct.
So there were no beaches, so we don't have to worry about that aspect of it. It'll be interesting to see how you do that story.
In the box, you will find one standalone scenario, and you will find 5 scenarios campaign. And this campaign is, as you mentioned, about the story of the Colonel Fawcett, who got missing in this area, and players are the rescue team who needs to find him and bring him back to Great Britain. Of course, I will not spoil the story, but basically it is a very thematic campaign with the twists, and there is a storybook with the paragraph that you read and learn the story. So besides the Euro elements and just trying to survive, you will have an additional piece of a story. There's a whole diary of the Colonel Fawcett that you can read and learn about his adventures. So we put a lot of work in that, but I believe it will be super, super interesting and narrative experience for the players. And it is very difficult because it's a horror story driven, so there's monsters and cultists and dark magic and all crazy stuff.
And I mean, and you can, like you said, you read the book Robinson Crusoe and you got your ideas from that. Did you go and watch the movie The Lost City of Z, or were you reading the books about it?
Yes, I watched the movie and it's absolutely brilliant. I strongly recommend. Very interesting movie, and yes, for those who watch the movie or read the book, this campaign will be even more interesting because they will recognize some elements.
Okay, and then along with Stronghold the Undead, that's going to be out when? It's only been 3 years, Ignacy.
No. So let's put things in the order. This Gen Con, I was not awarded with the Squirrel Award for delaying Stronghold Undead for 3 years in a row. I was very disappointed. And I decided that I will no more and no longer delay the expansion because there is no award for that. So actually Stronghold Undead is going to print and going to production. Like, if there is no award for delaying, whatever, I will do this expansion.
So now we know it's our fault, Tony. He was purposely delaying just so he could try to get a Squirrely Award.
Yeah, you gave me the award for the first delay. I thought it's cool, and I'm starting delaying it. But there was no follow-up for the award.
Well, you use if we could do a Squirrely World next year, which I'm pretty sure you're got a shoe in one game. But are you going to use it as a hold up for your third edition of your board games that tell stories? And when is that Kickstarter starting? Huh? Is that going to be a book holder for you?
Yeah, that's a good question. I wanted this Kickstarter to be in September, but Essen and conventions, and I had to move it later. But yes, there will be Kickstarter for Board Games That Tell Stories Volume 3, that's for sure. If I get the award Squirrel for Undead, either delaying it or producing, like whatever, I get it for anything. I will use it to help my books being in the right order.
Oh, okay. See, Marty, once again, it serves more of a purpose than just being an award. It's a bookends. And when did you become I'm going to alienate some people here, but I don't care. When did you become a millennial, Ignacy? When do I have to award just for doing something with you?
A participation Squirrely.
Oh, it has become an award. Thank you, Ignacy. Here is your 2019 Squirrely for just participating in game design.
Yeah, he's like, I should get something for not doing anything. All right, let's recap everything here. Detective is out now. We got Amazons, I think that's what he says. The expansion coming out for Imperial Settlers.
No. No. It's not how I say. Let's put it how people are saying that. We use the proper name.
All right. At Essen, you got Amazons. Now I'm going to say Amazons. I got to get it out of my head. The expansion for Imperial Settlers, brand new Monolith Arena coming out. You got the new Robinson expansion coming out. Now, obviously, those are all expansions. Monolith and Detective are the brand new ones. I guess you've probably got plans for brand new games in 2019, probably already on the books.
Yes, we in Essen we will have a small keynote with some small announcement, but the big event and the big keynote for Portal Games is, as every year, PortalCon. And this year it will be held 26th of January. We will make a lot of announcement during this event. Of course, we will send a press release before this event. There will be a live stream from Poland from this keynote. This keynote will be in English, and we will announce a couple of new titles for the 2019. So yes, we know what are we going to produce. Of course, we are working on these titles right now, and the big keynote, big announcement will be 26th of January 2019, live stream on our YouTube channel and Facebook channel, etc.
So PortalCon, how many days is it, and what is the weather like in Poland in January?
The weather sucks because it's a winter, so it's very cold and gloomy. And the convention takes 2 days, with the Saturday being the main day because of the keynote. And this particular PortalCon, this upcoming, is very special for us because we will be celebrating 20th anniversary of Portal Games. I founded the company 20 years ago in Poland.
Amazing.
So we are inviting employees who work with me back then. We are inviting some designers who are doing games for us. It will be a very, very special event for me and for the whole company. We expect a lot of hardcore fans from Poland. So on one hand, big announcement and big keynotes. On the other hand, just a dinner with the fans and presenting the old games. And I will bring prototypes of my most famous designs. And it will be a very, very special weekend for me, 20 years of my work.
That's amazing. And I assume that one of those big games that you announced at Keynote is what Tony and I will be unboxing and putting on shelves at Gen Con next year.
I hope so. Yes, that's the plan. We will announce one title for Gen Con, and we will announce one title for Essen, and we will announce a couple of other things. So yeah, there will be a lot of nice surprises for the fans.
Yeah, I was checking the RDTM finances, and those flights are kind of expensive, Marty. So I was going to say if the weather was good, I could probably talk Dawn into a little vacation. She really wants to go to Poland. Now, where do you hold this, Ignacy? What city?
It is a Gliwice, so this is our city, and we are having the very nice, very modern building with the stage like in a theater. So it will be very professional, nice keynotes, and then there's a huge game room. And we will give to our fans a lot of prototypes, a lot of games from the past. My very first board game I ever designed, like all those crazy events. Michael Orach, special guest of the convention, it will be huge for us. I'm already preparing for that, even though there is 4 months left.
And if people were making travel arrangements, where's the best city to fly into if you're coming from the States?
Katowice. Katowice is the closest airport. It is like a 40 minutes drive from the Katowice. And we had in the past, we had a couple of fans from Germany, from Hungary, from France, from Italy. Local flights in Europe are not that expensive. So if you're a hardcore fan of Portal Games, and if you want to celebrate 20th birthday of the company, it may be a good idea to spend an absolutely crazy weekend in Poland.
Hopefully you're designing a 20th anniversary logo for yourself.
Yeah, that's the task for our team. But yes, basically we want this next year being very special because 20 years, as you guys know, because I said it in many interviews, and basically 20 years ago I dropped the college and I told my parents I'm dropping the college, I'm not going to be engineer, I'm founding company, and nobody, including me, accepted back then that I will build a company that will strive and grow and be on the market for 20 years.
And would you have ever thought 20 years from now that you would be where you are sitting on your Saturday afternoon talking with a bunch of fools in Charlotte, North Carolina?
I didn't see it coming, that's for sure.
But Marty, man, that does sound amazing. I don't know. You should put in the tones for as many times as we said amazings on this show today.
I think it's pronounced amazing.
There you go.
Amazing.
And where's the T-shirts? They need to be on the website. Oh, man, I wish you had a Redbubble site for all your Portal stuff so I wouldn't have to do the Portal shipping from Poland, because Redbubble, they can produce them anywhere and ship them anywhere.
So good that you are mentioning, because we are now working on a separate store for the American customers, because there's so many fans in America and shipping from Poland is ridiculous. So in upcoming months, I don't know if it will take us 2 or 3 months, but basically we are working on this right now. We will have our stock and our product in America in a warehouse, and the customers from America will order the stuff from our web store, and it will be shipped from America. So the shipping prices will drop very much in upcoming months, and we will have new products, and we will have a lot of good news for the customers in America.
From years ago, I still have my Neuroshima Hex logo shirt, my faction logo shirt. I hope you do some of those from Monolith Arena for the different factions. Those are fun.
Yep. Yeah, because we see at the conventions, that this is the perfect way to manifest your love to the game, manifest your love to the faction. It is great for the company because you promote our game. It is great for you because you can say, hello, I am the Moloch, I am the robots. So it is a win-win situation, and yes, we will have them in stock all.
I just want one with my Sunny Beach card shirt that I can walk. I mean, I still have my Imperial Settlers one with the Stormtrooper helmet.
Oh, I do too.
Yeah.
That's very cool t-shirt.
That's an awesome shirt. So, Ignacy, unfortunately, we've got to wrap it up here today, though we could probably talk to you for another hour, goofing and having a good time talking about pretty much everything, tea, cookies, whatever we wanted to talk about. But we know your time.
Dogs eating cats. It's just amazing. We've learned a lot this interview, Tony.
We got to have him on more often. That's all there is to it. But he's a busy man. He's got his podcast with Stephen Bonacore. So if you're not listening to that, now they have a hard time hitting regular strides like we do. I mean, sometimes it may be every other week. Sometimes it might be once a month.
Having a chance to being with you, I can just say that I was going to record with Stephen this Tuesday. And then I have this Skype message from him that he's in Mexico having vacation and he is not able to record. So just saying, it is hard with him.
Oh, yeah, I know. And he's with Rodney Smith in Mexico, who keeps dropping pictures of look, I'm in Cabo. Look at these beautiful pictures. Look what I'm doing.
What are they doing down there? Is this board game?
Oh, no, this is just going out and having a good time. I think Bonacore has family members or something, has a resort down there in Cabo, and he gets to go. Has he ever invited you, Ignacy? Has he ever invited you and Ignacy, you and Mary to go?
No. I was just sitting here in Poland waiting for the Skype call from Steven, and there was no Skype call from him this week.
Yeah. So basically, he invites these people to go with him on this trip, but you, who are his co-host, fellow board game designer, fellow publishing owner, has never invited you to this Cabo vacation. Is that correct?
I'm happy that you pointed it out. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I think you need to delay that Undead expansion some more because of that. I mean, what's another year?
That'll teach him.
Ignacy, thank you so much for being on. Thank you for all your support of Rolling Dice and Taking Names. We really do appreciate it. And more importantly, thank you for producing such incredible games and what your company has done for all of us in the industry hobby. We love it. We love, Detective, huge success, I hear.
You really ought to play it sometime, Tony. It's good.
Thank you.
With every big gaming convention, people are going to be looking for creative ways to store and organize their games, and you could do that by checking out thebrokentoken.com. They will be at Essen this year, and if you're going to be going, make sure to walk by their booth, check out their huge dice tower contraption they have on the side where you can drop dice all the way through, and those are the dice towers that are stackable, and you can get those. You can get these stackable card organizers, plus each of the organizers for each of the individual games. So make sure to go check out their site, sign up for their newsletter, and you could do that at thebrokentoken.com.
Ignacy was kind enough to let us get a early copy of Monolith Arena. Now, Marty, from my standpoint, I think the man owed us at least that.
Why is that?
Well, let's see. We've let him come on the show. We set up his booth for him. We've done a lot of extra work for the man. So, I said, well, hey, throw us a bone over here.
Well, he is throwing us a bone by being a sponsor.
This is true.
And we need to be upfront about this. He is a sponsor of the show, so we're getting ready to talk about a game that he's getting ready to put out. But this isn't like a review of what we think of the game, because people say, well, you just like the game because he's your sponsor.
Right.
But people who are fans, or not fans, because we don't have any of those people. We just have an audience. How about that? People who have been listening to the show for a while know that we like Neuroshima Hex.
Yes.
And we've liked that for a long time. So what we want to do is compare Monolith Arena to Neuroshima Hex, and maybe War Chest, because you and I really enjoy War Chest, which is a 2-player abstract game where you put tokens or things on the board and fight and see and maybe give suggestions on why people may like one maybe over the other.
So let's do the obvious comparison.
Well, let's do the obvious thing first. Is we want to thank Carolina Tabletop Games
Yes.
for letting us use his storeroom to record. Tony and I had to meet so that we could get this recorded and put out before the next episode. So we played out there, and it got super crowded. And the owner of the store, Rob, said, if you want to, you can go back and use the storeroom and record. So that's where we are now.
So here we are. Let's compare the obvious one. Let's go Hex versus the new Hex, Monolith Arena.
Which, you heard Ignacy talk about
was designed by
before.
Michael
Oryx.
Oryx.
Oracz.
He's an Amazon.
He's an Amazon designer.
Yes, he is. So Hiroshima, futuristic post-apocalyptic world.
Theme.
That's
Yeah.
the theme. That's the first thing that's going to pop out to me compared to this. What would you call it? Adventure? Fantasy.
So it's just 100% fantasy. The 4 factions they have really fancy names, but they're basically humans, elves, dwarves, undead, or demons.
Demons, right. And I liked how in the elves, they weren't these goody two-shoes, thank you, type of elves. They're mean elves.
You and I played all 4 factions. We got all 4 factions played. We had time for 2 games. We played just the basic game, which pretty much plays exactly like Hiroshima Hex.
Right.
You draw 3 tiles, you discard 1, you can put units on the board, and you have order tiles for doing things like moving or creating a battle. And the battle resolves the exact same way, which is something we always enjoyed about Hiroshima Hex, was the highest initiative attacks first. So if a higher initiative is attacking something with a lower initiative, that lower initiative guy will be removed from the board before he ever has a chance. So all the 3s attack, and the 2s, 1s, 0s.
Right.
So it kind of thins out the board after every single battle. All that works the exact same way.
Yeah, and the big difference is there are special abilities in the various factions, and each one is different for these 4.
And they're vastly different.
Vastly, yes. I mean, we had, like I said, the elves. They're not nice elves, but they're able to move around the board. They have the movement. Yes.
They could just move around like crazy, and they have a lot of range.
Right. The dwarfs were tough. The humans were...
The humans had the charge ability. So they had horses. They had, you say it.
No.
Cavalry.
The cavalry. Cavalry. Yes, okay.
Which would basically allow you to move and attack, which is kind of a very common thing in a lot of miniature games. It seems like every miniature game has a charge thing, move and attack. And then the demons were just like, they could teleport and just kind of move around the board and poison people.
Probably the most irritating thing is the net. Hate the net, but I understand the net, and they were netting.
Yeah, so the net, that's from Hiroshima Hex. You throw a net on somebody, they can't do anything.
Right.
They ain't moving, they ain't doing anything until the person that net them is gone.
So from a standpoint, though, we really were able to quickly get used to the abilities and the capabilities because of Hex.
Yes.
Right? So it was not...
Because you just don't like saying Hiroshima.
No, I don't like saying Hiroshima.
So when he says Hex, he means Hiroshima Hex.
So for me, I was like, okay, this felt familiar, very warm, even though it was different faction.
So let me just ask you, which do you relate to more, the fantasy or the post-apocalyptic factions?
It would probably be the fantasy.
Okay.
Though, you have all the armies for the post-apocalyptic.
Got
that word out. And I was able, you're just so used to them because we've seen it so much in so many games over time. And
the fantasy, yeah. So what Ignacy said was true. The dwarves you think are going to be tough, they're tough.
Right, tough.
The elves are nimble, move around.
Right.
So.
Yeah. And I'm trying not to, I got to be careful here. We've got some, keep waiting to knock product off shelves here. So if you hear a crash, we apologize for that. So yeah, so we've got that going on. So enjoyed the faction.
I think unless people just have a huge love of like the post-apocalyptic, the Mad Max type world, they're probably going to relate better to fantasy. Because just when you see the names and what they do, it kind of makes sense. I assume more factions will come, but with these 4 basic in the game, to me, they make more sense than the 4 basic factions in Hiroshima Hex.
But the rules are simple. They are the same. I mean, we had some questions because of certain abilities, because they're new abilities.
Right, like the charge.
The charge. Yeah, how does this work? What do you do? Can you do it twice? What about this? And the runes. Now, that's one thing I don't remember because it's been a while since I've played Hiroshima Hex.
They weren't called runes, but there were tiles on the board that would just give bonuses.
Yeah, the bonuses.
It was the same thing. They worked the exact same way, just called something different.
Yeah. So you had those out there. So it was all pretty much. So if you're familiar with Hiroshima Hex, this is going to feel very familiar to you as well.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, let's get to the real meat of this thing, the monolith.
Yeah. So that's the brand new thing that was added to the game. And so for our second game, you and I picked up a different faction to play and then added the concept of the monolith to the board. Now, the monolith is a set of 3 stackable plastic pieces where each one can hold a tile, either a rune or a unit. But the top piece will always have the banner or the base in it.
Right.
Then before the game, you secretly put in 2 other tiles, it could be units or runes, into those that's stacked beneath it.
Mm-hmm.
During your turn, you have the option to unfold, is what they call in the rules, is unfold the monolith, where you can remove the 2 segments from beneath the banner and deploy them out onto the board, but they must be adjacent. So they got to be touching each other.
And into empty spaces, you can't put it on somebody.
Yes. So once you satisfy those rules, then they're out there and then you can fight. So the idea of this is the fact that you can set up some sort of synergy at the beginning of the game. Let's say there's these 2 tiles. I really want to have them and use them, but dang it, if I don't have the luck of the draw, I'll never get them out at the same time. So the monolith provides you a way to say, okay, well, fine. Beneath your banner, go ahead and put in those 2 tiles. And when you want, you can unfold, maybe do a battle, use them. And then at the end of a battle, they all fold back up again.
Right. Very strategic. Because you're building. You're constantly building your team. You can build anything you want. You can find combinations. And Ignacy has often said this in this podcast when he's talking to Stephen about it in Board Games Insider.
Mm-hmm.
There are all these different combinations. And when you think you have found one, then here comes a better one.
Yeah. In fact, you remember in the interview, he said, I found one that broke it.
Yeah.
And then the designer said, no, here's some better ones that's even better than that one. Yeah. So there has a little bit of kind of a list or deck building mechanic to it. It's like, well, I'm going to play with this faction. I'm going to start with these 2 in the monolith.
And they can be destroyed. So that's important to keep in mind. So if you go out and battle and your monolith is out there, they can also, if you don't place them correctly, those tiles can be lost in your monolith. Mm-hmm. It folds back up. So in your next turn, you have to be able to unfold it, and then you may place a tile in an open spot.
Right.
But you cannot place another tile on the board.
Yeah, so when you unfold it, that's pretty much taking your turn. You can unfold it and then play orders at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Or when you unfold it, if there's an empty spot in one of the little tile holders, you can put a tile that you just drew into that to fill it back up again.
So it's a nice addition to that type of gameplay. Strategy-wise,
mm-hmm.
where Hiroshima Hex didn't have that, basically putting tiles on the board and battling it out. Here, you've got a type of building, not a deck building, but just a building.
Mm-hmm.
And then once they're out there, the surprise is gone, of course.
That's true.
But there's a lot of strategy, not only around getting the monolith out, but also trying to keep them from expanding their monolith.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to think about that as well.
Because like you said, there has to be open spots for the monolith to be unfolded. And if there's no places for it to go, then it will never unfold. So then the other player has to spend time trying to clear out a spot where he can try to get his monolith unfolded when he needs to.
I really enjoyed playing it. I was like, okay, I like this a lot better than the base. That's what was so funny. I was sitting there after we played the base and then we put the monolith. I was like, okay, I do like this a lot more.
Yeah. It seems like our game went slower because there's this whole new thing that now you've got to consider. And you're constantly kind of looking at what tiles were in your monolith. It's like, okay, when do I want to unfold this? When I don't want to surprise it on him. And that was just our very first game. I can imagine that once you play these factions enough, you have the aha moment. Oh my gosh, I need to start this with these 2 tiles in the monolith and pull off this little combo.
But you got to be very careful because when you unfold it, like you said, on your turn, you're sitting there unfolding. You got to unfold it to get it ready. You got to be careful because if you come up and then you draw a battle, you can decimate my troops that were hidden away in my monolith. So I've got to
But if they're unfolded.
If they're unfolded.
Yes. Yeah.
So
you can't attack troops if they're in the monolith.
Right.
The only thing that will take damage in the monolith is basically the banner that's sitting on the top, which is like the home base.
Yeah.
And that's the whole goal of the game, is try to destroy the other person's banner. They have 20 points. They do 20 points damage to the banner. It ends. Or whenever one person runs out of tiles, whoever has done the most damage to the other person's base will win.
Right. But like what I was trying to say is that basically you've got the banner going out and you've got to, let's say you had an open spot.
In the monolith, okay.
In the monolith, and you wanted to unfold it.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, okay, I pulled the right ones that I'm going to stack this back in there and I unfold it. It's going to stay unfolded until there's a battle. So you've got to be very careful, especially if you don't draw a battle, because then it's your turn. Oh, he drew a battle. He just decimated whatever I just put in there. Very strategic on that front.
Right. Now, there were some questions that we had during the game, and we were almost having like an online Twitter conversation with Ignacy answering some of the questions. And he must have gone to bed because we ran into a couple of questions with the monolith with particular factions that we were kind of unsure of. And we wanted to get clarification. So we won't mention those here, but there were a couple of things that I was like, is it supposed to work like this or should it not work like this? Especially with things like teleportation. because there's this new concept where demons cannot teleport around the board. And I had some questions about teleporting out of a monolith and stuff like that. So we won't worry about that for now, but I'm sure there'll be, as people get this in their hands, Ignacy's very good at answering questions and putting facts out there for situations that people run into as they play the game. So here's a question for you. You and I recently played War Chest, which is a 2-player game with, looks like hex tiles. I mean, the board almost looks like the exact same type of board. You're drawing tokens from a bag and you're playing 3 tokens and trying to fight each other. How do you compare the two? If like you were talking to somebody and it's like, I don't know which one I would want, what would you give the pros and cons of each?
2 completely different games from the standpoint.
Wow, okay, yeah.
All right. Because first off, you have while War Chest has all the individual characteristics of the armies or of whatever factions you get to play, here a faction has all the units underneath it, so it's a different type of strategy to build up. Here in War Chest, you only have to worry about the 4 factions that you're handling.
The 4 types of units.
4 types of units.
And that would change every game.
Right. But with Monolith Arena, you've got this faction has a special ability and the units underneath it have various types of powers. So I don't know if I could really compare it. I'd play them both easily. I mean, I enjoy them both. Which one do I feel like setting up right now? So, I don't think there's a dislike or a like between either one. Either one. Put them on the table. I'm going to play them.
Do you feel that War Chest is a little bit lighter affair? It seems like that the factions were so different in Monolith Arena. I had a little bit more AP. I did than with War Chest. Now, I think War Chest has this cool thing of the drafting at the beginning, where you can draft your units that you want to build.
Right.
So that's different every time, as opposed to I'm just going to pick this faction and play it. Now, here's the thing. If people want something that's really fluid and moves quickly, the battles in War Chest can't move any quicker than that. I'm going to attack you, you're gone. In Monolith Arena, when a battle happens, things pretty much stop at that point because you have to evaluate the entire board. That's part of the beauty of the game, too, is you're constantly looking at the board and wondering when is the battle going to kick off. Because when it happens, then you have to take time to evaluate each initiative one step at a time and settle that. So War Chest is probably more fluid in the battle, but the Monolith Arena is probably more tactical when it comes to that point in the battle.
I think it's 2 different levels of strategy. I mean, I think they are, even though it's basically putting tiles on a board, what you're doing, completely different mechanics. I mean, drawing from a bag, drawing from a pile. Yeah, okay, so War Chest, you draw from a bag. In Monolith, you're drawing from the bag, your tiles.
Yeah, but then they're discarded from the game. I guess what's different also too about War Chest is that tiles will how you activate. Yeah, you're right. They're 2 totally different style of games. The only thing where they're really kind of similar is it's a 2-player abstract game where you're using units to fight each other, but they really are different.
Oh, man, a lot of similarities, but a lot of differences. So that makes no sense, but I'm okay. Two individual games, but I like them both.
So you're not committing to either one. They're both good, but they are different.
In my mind, they are very different.
It's funny. So when I started this, I thought, okay, we're going to take 2 similar games and compare them. But now that you've gone through it, maybe they aren't as similar as what I thought. Now, there is one thing I always used to bother me with Neuroshima Hex. The rule of you draw 3, discard 1.
Okay.
I always felt like, man, there's sometimes when you draw 3 really bad ones, or so you're trying to look for that one particular tile that you want and you can't get to it, or you draw 3 good ones and you get, great, now I have to decide which one I want to discard. Ignacy added to the rules something called a more tactical game.
Ooh.
And here's what I like. It says, if you think there is too much randomness in the game, which I just explained that sometimes there might be, and you want to reduce it, you can play with the following reinforcement rule. During your turn, draw up to 6 tiles instead of 3, discard 1, and play a maximum of 2, and all the others can be saved for later. So now instead of 3, you have 6 in front of you to decide with.
Okay.
So what that does is that reduces the randomness, but gives you a lot more choices to take during your turn.
Yeah, and I can also a lot more AP.
No, I totally agree. There is a lot more AP at that point, but it does remove that, man, I'm really looking for this particular tile. Well, now if you have 6 in front of you every turn, well, then that just kind of reduces the randomness, and then it really becomes more of a tactical game at that point.
Now, one thing about Monolith is I get to see what tiles you pull.
Oh, that's true. That's different. War Chest, they're hidden.
They're hidden. So that helps a lot in the strategy. It's not like, oh, did you pull that matching tile in War Chest that will let you go out and do an attack or take over that area? And in Monolith, I know it's on your board. You know I had a dwarf bomb sitting there waiting to try to take out one of your nets, but you never would set them up the way I wanted you to. So I just wasted it at the freaking end. I was.
Yeah, so in theory, I guess if you really know another faction's 35 tiles, you could count. You could know, well, I know he only has X amount of number of battle tokens left or X amount of bombs left. So that's part of the game too.
I don't have the brain power for 35. Huh?
I don't either, but I'm saying for those who really get into this game, they can realize, well, I know out of that whole stack, he has 2 battle orders left that he can implement.
I will say, out of the 4 factions we played, I've already got my favorite, and that's the dwarves.
I knew it. It would be. And which one's my favorite?
For you, it's the teleporting, the demons.
It's the demons.
Yeah,
for sure.
I mean, they all are neat abilities.
Yeah,
they're all neat abilities. I got to replay the elves because there's a lot more. I think there's a little deep strategy there that I completely missed with the movement.
You were a huge fan of that charge action I kept doing against you, especially when Ignacy texted me. He said, "Oh, by the way, don't forget." If your units has a charge and a move, you can move them, then activate with like the charge rune and move them in and hit somebody. I did that a few times, and you just left the charge rune sitting out on the board.
I think I wasn't I wasn't really understanding it and how it was to be used, and I don't think I played the elves very well. But that's just as you see it for the first time, you're like, Once we got that down, even though I only saw the dwarfs for the first time, pretty well understood those until you netted them.
To wrap this up, the big question is, if I already have Neuroshima Hex Marty, Tony, why would I want to buy Monolith Arena? I think there's probably 2 big things. One is the different theme, and the second is the monolith.
That's it.
That's really the 2 differences. Oh, bigger tiles.
Bigger tiles.
The graphics are gorgeous.
Yes, they are.
The art and everything is good. The playmats or the player boards for the different factions are like a vinyl type material with nice gloss print on the front. So production is really nice. The thicker or bigger tiles, which I really appreciate. So really, that's the difference. If you have Neuroshima Hex and you're happy with Neuroshima Hex, great. But if it's like, well, I'd like to try fantasy, you have this. The monolith does add enough, in my opinion, different strategy to the game that you might want to check it out over Neuroshima.
I agree.
And if you don't have Neuroshima and you get the game, you can play it one of 2 different ways. You don't have to use the monolith in there if you don't want to.
That's right.
You can just play the basic game like we did or do the other version. So there we go. Monolith Arena. Big thanks to Ignacy for sending us a copy. This game will be covered on Rodney's channel, Watch It Played, because it's a big logo on the back of the box.
I was going to say, did the logo make the back of the box?
Oh, it's on the back of the box, but he hasn't made the video yet.
I'm sure he's on it.
So I'm sure he's answered all these questions by the time that his little video comes out. So if you want to check out and see how it's played, then you can go watch his channel, and you can obviously pre-order this right now for Essen. I want the neoprene mat.
Oh, yeah.
I want the mat for this thing. Even though it's a nice board, I like a mat.
We always talk about our collection and how we share games back and forth, and there are some games where you will have it and I'll borrow it and vice versa. This one is another one that I would like to put in my collection. That's how much I enjoyed it, because I have copies of Neuroshima Hex and Imperial and on down the line. It's another great game.
And if successful, I'm sure that Michael will be working on more factions, as actually Ignacy's already teased.
I'm sure he's already probably got 4.
He does. So,
well, I mean, I would like to see him take some of the keys out of like the Steel Police and the whatever that faction's called.
I have no idea
the
what you just said.
Schlack or whatever.
The Schlack. The Slee Stack from Land of the Lost?
Yes. But yes. Okay. I'd like to see, some of those maybe how he would take those special abilities and bring them into the fantasy world. That's going to be interesting.
Or even not that, even just taking the typical fantasy tropes of other factions and incorporating them into this game.
That's right.
Seeing that, you got, the mer people and all that stuff. And by the way, they're Morlocks on the elves, not Murlocs.
Whatever. Okay. It's probably the cavalry.
Cavalry. So there we go. Monolith Arena. If you're interested, you will be pre-order at Essen, and it will be available soon after.
PortalGames.pl/en. This whole show was a Portal commercial. So there, we're done. Wow. Martin Wallace and Ignacy. We've learned a lot from 2 of the great designers in the industry, Marty. That's it. Do we need more designers on the show till the end of the year, or should we just start doing some more game reviews? Because it's going to be hard to That bar's been set pretty high, man. Pretty high.
The past 2 episodes have been incredible. Having 2 great designers on the show. I thought you was getting ready to say, maybe we should just shut down now because it can't get any better.
No, I mean, because we can always go back to our own stupidity. I mean, I appreciate Ignacy playing along. At least he understood about the lawnmower.
Well, he listens to the show.
Well, he listens so he can hear his commercial.
That's right. In fact, he was expecting it.
I mean, he played right along, but man, I wish I could mow only once a year.
If you did that, the HOA would be all over you.
Yes, they would.
We always love to get Ignacy on at this time of year because he has his big Essen games coming out, and he's already thinking about 2019. And we know in his mind, he knows exactly what's coming, and he wouldn't off the air give us any hint on what it was. So we're in the dark too, but it's always exciting this time of the year to know that he's already kind of gearing up for the big things that'll be coming out in 2019. So I can't wait till his Portal Con to hear all about that.
Oh, Portal Con. If there was any way, why in the winter? I'd be all over that. But the winter?
I don't know.
Because, I mean, I talked to Donna about it, and she's like, really? And I'm like, yeah, because she wants to go over. I could tie this up. But no, because it's short. Portal Con is short.
Well, I guess it's just because of the time of the year, right? You're typically going to announce games for that year at the beginning of the year. I mean, it wouldn't make no sense to have it in the middle of the summer when the games come out in like a couple weeks.
20 years. That's a long time to be in the
20
business.
years. I'm excited for him. I cannot wait to see the kind of stuff that he does for 2019. I hope he has like 20th anniversary stickers and stuff all over the place. I would love to see him revisit some older games that people have been wanting. I know that people have been wanting him to redo, and I can't think of the name of the game. The one that's about fashion design.
Oh, fashion. Why did you use, it's Porta 9. Yeah. Is it Preta Porta?
Yes. I know a lot of people have been asking for like a reprint of that. At least with like Monolith Arena, you've kind of got a refleshing or redoing of Neuroshima Hex. I know people have been talking about maybe, Legacy was a game for him before he got big. And Tony, you've never played Legacy. I need to get with you and play that. That is a fun game.
Mm-hmm. Oh, there's a lot of games you haven't played with me. I have to go buy them myself.
That's true.
That's okay.
Hey, at least you got Detective now.
I got Detective. Matter of fact, you know what? Enough. All this talk with Ignacy makes me want to go get out either Robinson or even, First Martian. Go for it, people. I mean, a lot of cleanups done there. Stronghold. You can't go wrong. Amazons, and Imperial Settlers. One of our favorites, 51st State. I mean, let me get in my car. I'm on my way over. We need to get a little Ignacy on the table there. That didn't come out right, did it?
Weird. That sounds weird. Let's get a little Ignacy on the table.
Yeah. Okay, let's get a game by Ignacy on the table.
There you go. That sounds good.
And have Vanessa get the oven ready because I'll bring over some, break apart cookies?
Yeah, let's do some baking. We'll have some cookies in his honor.
All right, so keep rolling dice.
And taking names. Thanks for listening to Rolling Dice and Taking Names. If you'd like to support the show, you can do so by going to podpledge.com/RDTN. There you can also order an RDTN mason jar. As always, you can follow us on all forms of social media. Just pick the one you like.
Now, what starts with the letter C? Cookie starts with C. Let's think of other things that starts with C. Who cares about other things? C is for cookie, that's good enough for me. C is for cookie, that's good enough for me. C is for cookie, that's good enough for me. Oh, cookie, cookie, cookie starts with C.
MiniatureMarket.com. It's only a month and a half away when you will get to see their big Black Friday sales. Go ahead, start pushing that money into the piggy bank because you need to save up. They're going to have a bunch of sales. They just had their fall sale, but then they're going to follow it up with their big Black Friday sale. You know it's out there. Be sure to check it out at MiniatureMarket.com. Also, be sure to check out Marty's videos where you can dedicate a game to someone from your distant past or maybe your distant future. I don't know how that'll work, Marty, but it could happen.
It could.